Welcome back to Missing Persons Archives, the channel that brings to light the real stories of those who have mysteriously vanished without a trace. We talk a lot here about the missing, and on rare, fortunate occasions, about those who've been found. When someone goes missing, the first few hours are absolutely critical. The clues are fresh, the trail hasn't gone cold, and there's still hope that someone saw something. But then there are other stories, ones like we're covering today. These aren't the typical tales of a person disappearing in a remote forest or national park. No, these vanishings happened in broad daylight, in public, in plain view. And still, somehow, these individuals were there one moment and gone the next. Today, we're diving into 3 of the strangest cases on record. Disappearances that defy logic and, in some ways, reality itself. The disappearance of Owen Parfitt. In the quiet English village of Shepton Mallet in Somerset County lived a man named Owen Parfitt. By the 1760s, Owen was in his 60s and partially paralyzed, requiring assistance to move about. He lived with his elderly sister in a modest cottage and spent most of his days sitting outside on the front porch, regaling anyone who would listen with wild tales of his adventurous youth. He claimed to have battled pirates, seduced countless women, and seen the world, a life full of adventure that had supposedly cost him the ability to walk. Most folks thought Owen exaggerated. Still, his charm made him a fixture of the village. That made what happened to him all the more unsettling. On a summer afternoon, records vary between 1763 and 1768, Owen asked to be brought outside to sit in his favorite chair on the porch. His sister, unable to carry him herself, enlisted the help of a neighbor. Together, they carried Owen from his room and settled him in a chair just outside the front door. The sun was shining. A storm was on the distant horizon, but all seemed calm. His sister stepped back inside for a short time, some say to grab a shawl, others to prepare tea. When she returned only minutes later, Owen was gone, completely and utterly vanished. The porch chair sat empty. His sister screamed. She called to the neighbor. She called to the laborers working in a field directly across the road. Not one of them had seen or heard anything. No one had approached. No one had wheeled him away, and Owen, incapable of walking or crawling off himself, had simply disappeared. Despite a thorough search of the property and surrounding area by family, neighbors, and local authorities, Owen was never found. There was no evidence of a struggle, no indication he had fallen or been dragged away, just an empty chair. Even today, over 2 centuries later, the disappearance of Owen Parfitt is still one of England's oldest and strangest missing persons cases. Had he somehow staged his final adventure? Or had something more sinister or otherworldly occurred on that warm afternoon? The Vanishing of James Tedford. James Tedford was a veteran of World War II and a quiet, solitary man who lived in the Bennington soldiers' home in Vermont. After returning from his second tour, he reunited with his much younger wife Pearl in their home in Fletcher. Their relationship was strong until one day, without warning, Pearl vanished. James came home to a strange scene: half-prepared dinner on the stove, dishes out, and Pearl gone. At first, he thought she'd stepped out, but hours passed, then days, and Pearl was never seen again. Locals reported seeing her at a gas station that day, acting normal and upbeat. There was no sign of distress. Police found no clues, no note, no struggle, no clear motive to leave. It was as though she had been plucked from the earth. Heartbroken, James fell into depression. Unable to bear the memories in their home, he moved to the soldiers' home. He became a shell of his former self. But the story doesn't end there. In December 1949, James boarded a bus to visit relatives in St. Albans, Vermont. He completed the visit, then boarded the return bus back to Bennington. He was last seen sleeping in his seat. When the bus arrived in Bennington, James was no longer aboard. His luggage was still there, his cash, his personal belongings, but not James. There had been 15 other passengers and a driver. All confirmed James had been on the bus. All confirmed he never got off at any stop. No one had seen him leave, and yet he was gone. The bus hadn't made any unscheduled stops. It was snowing heavily, and James, a disabled war veteran, wasn't the type to leap from a moving vehicle. This strange case has since become one of the most perplexing disappearances, associated with the Bennington Triangle, a stretch of Vermont where numerous people have vanished under mysterious circumstances. 2 disappearances, 1 couple, both unexplained, and to this day, neither Pearl nor James has ever been found. The vanishing of Martha Wright. It was the winter of 1975. Jackson and Martha Wright were driving through the Lincoln Tunnel in New York when their windshield began to fog up. Visibility dropped, and Jackson pulled their vehicle over so they could wipe down the windows. Jackson handled the front. Martha stepped out to clean the rear windshield. Moments later, she was gone, vanished. Jackson looked around in panic. They were in a tunnel with walls, traffic, and no real place to hide. Witnesses later confirmed seeing Martha standing at the rear of the car, wiping the window, corroborating Jackson's version of events. Yet somehow, within moments, she disappeared. No one saw her run. No one saw her get into another vehicle. There was nowhere for her to go. Naturally, suspicion fell on Jackson, but his story remained consistent, and those same witnesses helped validate it. Still, the mystery remained unsolved. Had Martha simply stepped into another dimension? Was it a glitch in reality, alien abduction, or something beyond our understanding? Martha Wright's case remains one of the most baffling in urban disappearance lore. A person who vanished in plain sight in a place where she should have been surrounded by witnesses. 3 people, 3 lives, 3 disappearances that make no sense by any conventional standard. These stories remind us that sometimes truth really is stranger than fiction. If you found this episode thought-provoking, like and subscribe to Missing Persons Archives. Leave us a comment below with your theories. What do you think happened to Owen, James, and Martha? And as always, stay safe, stay aware, and remember the missing.